For section 3.5, we're going to be looking at standard form. Standard form is another way to write a linear equation. The standard form is in the form of ax plus by equals c. ABC must be real numbers and AB cannot be 0. When they mean real numbers is A, B, and C cannot be a fraction. And also AB cannot be 0 and also A cannot be a negative. So when we're solving, the value of A has to be a positive number. We'll show how to get rid of that if that comes up. So the three forms to write linear equations is the slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b, the point-slope form, which is what we did on section 3.4, and now we're doing the standard form. The standard form is very good for finding the y-intercept and to find the x-intercept. So whenever we want to find those values, the x and y-intercept, standard form is very easy to apply and find those values. For problem 1, we're going to find the x and y-intercepts and the slope of the given graph 3x plus 4y equals 24. So what I did is I went ahead and wrote this in blue, red, and purple. For the blue, I'm going to go ahead and find the x-intercept. To do that, what we're going to do is we're going to make y equal to 0. So this is going to be 3x plus 4, and we're going to make y 0. So I'm going to plug in a 0 for y, and that's going to equal to 24. Well, 4 times 0 is 0, so I'm left only with 3x equal to 24. And if I divide both sides by 3, x is going to turn out to be 8. So x is 8, and so x is our x-intercept. So that means that our point value for this is going to be when x is 8, y is 0. Now for the one in red, we're going to use that to find our y-intercept. To find our y-intercept, we're going to make x be 0. So therefore this would be 3 times 0 plus 4y equals 24. And this will allow us to find the y-intercept. So the 3 times 0 is going to be 0, and I'm left with 3y equal to 24. Divide both sides by 4, and so y will equal 6. So this is going to give us the y-intercept. Now, the point for that would be when x is 6, the y would be 0. Now, for the last one, we want to find the slope. This is going to be done here in purple. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and solve this and turn this into a slope-intercept form, which is the y equals mx plus b form. So what I want to do is make y by itself. So here's my y. So in order for me to solve for y, I need to get rid of this 3x. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract 3x on both sides of the equation. And I'm going to be left with 4y minus 3x plus 24. Divide both sides by 4. And I'm going to divide everything individually on the right side of the equation. So the 4's cancel on my left side, and I'm left with y equals negative 3/4 x plus 6. Now that I have that, now I know my m. My m is the number in front of the x, which is going to be the negative 3/4. So I'm going to go ahead and write down that m, my slope, is going to equal to negative 3/4. And that's my slope. Let's go on to problem 2. For problem 2, we are going to do the same thing as we did in problem 1. We're going to find the x and y intercepts, and that's how we're going to be able to graph find our graph. So what I want to do is to find the x-intercept, I'm going to make y 0. So I'm going to be left with x times 2 times 0 equals to negative 2. So that is going to cancel out the negative 2 times 0. So I'm left with x being negative 2. So that means that x minus 2 is my x-intercept. So if I look for that point is negative 2 for x and y is 0. So it's going to touch the x-axis at negative 2. So we're going to go ahead and look for negative 2. That would be right there. Okay, now let's go ahead and do the other one. We have x minus 2y equal to negative 2. So in order for us to do this, we're going to make x 0. So I'm going to plug in a 0 here, minus 2y equals negative 2. Well, the 0 just cancels itself out, and we're going to go ahead and divide both sides by negative 2. The negatives 2 cancel, and so I'm left with y equal to 1. So y equal to 1 is my y-intercept. The point would be y is 1 and x would be 0. So I'm going to go ahead and look at that one. So that would be about right here. And now I can go ahead and drop a line to connect those 2 points. Would be around there. I went ahead and drew that line right here so you guys can see how that came out. And so it's passing through this point. Here's my y-intercept and here's my x-intercept. It passes through those points. And that's how you graph using a standard form. All right, for problem number 3, we're going to have to come up with the equation in standard form for horizontal and vertical lines. So we're going to go ahead and show each of one. So the first one for A, notice that you have a vertical line and it's passing through what seems to be here the value of 3. So we're going to go ahead and say that x is going to pass through the value of 3. That would be the equation. Now, if we want to find out what is A, B, and C, so we're going to go ahead and write the standard form. The standard form is ax plus by equals c. So x equals 3. So I'm going to go ahead and say that x is going to be here. So here's my x, and that's going to equal to 3. So I already know that c is going to be 3 because that's the equation there. The x has a number in front, which is the a, but there's no number here. But we know that that's an invisible 1. So I'm going to go ahead and say that a is going to be 1. And then b, well, it's empty, but we know that when it's empty, we can think of that as 0y because 0 times y is 0, which is empty. So therefore, b is going to be 0. So a is 1, b is 0, c is 3. That's how I would do the vertical line. Now, for the horizontal line, at this point, that would be y equal 3. And we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to write it as ax plus by equals c. And I know that the value of the 3 belongs where the c is, and the value for the y, well, that goes here, and the a, there's nothing there, so now I know that a has to be 0. B is the number in front of the y, which is an invisible 1, so that would be 1, and then c, of course, is the value at the end, which is going to be 3. And that's how you find a, b, c when you have these special type of lines, horizontal and vertical lines. For problem 4, they want us to write an equation in standard form for a line passing through -5 and 7 and with a slope of 2/3. So standard form again is going to be using the equation ax plus by equals c. So the first thing is I need an equation. Since I am given a point and I'm given a slope, I'm going to go ahead and use the point slope form. Okay, so we're going to use that form. That form is the y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So this is from 3.4. So we're going to go ahead and say y minus, and remember this is our x1, y1, and that's going to be times the minus the y1, which is a 7, and that's going to equal to our slope, which is 2/3, times x minus our value of our x1. x1 is a -5. Remember that I always put things in parentheses to notice that if any signs change. So this one didn't change on the left side, so that's y minus 7, 2/3 times x plus 5. The two negatives will turn this into a positive, so that's where the sign changes. Now we want to get rid of the 3 because we want to change this into standard form, and there are no fractions. So first thing is we got to get rid of that fraction. Remember, a, b, c can't be fractions, so let's get rid of that fraction, and what we're going to do is we're going to multiply the right side and the left side, all of this and all of this, by 3. Okay, we're going to multiply everything by 3. So what happens is the 3's here are going to cancel on the right side, and I'm going to be left with 2 times x plus 5. On this side, we're going to distribute the 3. 3 times y is 3y. 3 times 7 is -21. So now what we want to do is distribute the 2 times the x and 2 times the 5. So 2 times x is 2x, 2 times the 5 is 10, and this is going to equal to 3y minus 21. Alright, so we're almost there. Now we want to go ahead and, so let me write this down again. Let's move the x over by subtracting 2x on both sides. Again, I can't subtract x with y or the 21, so I'm going to leave it as 2x plus 3y minus 21 equals to 10. And now we want to move the 21 over by adding 21. The 21's cancel. I'm left with negative 2x plus 3y is going to equal to 31. Now, the last thing is we are almost done, except that the a, the number in front here, the negative 2 cannot be negative, so we need to get rid of that. And what we do is just multiply everything by a negative 1. If I do that, I get rid of the negative. Negative times a negative makes it positive. So finally, my new equation is going to be 2x, because I went ahead and distribute this out. Negative 1 times 3 is negative 3y. And then negative 1 times 3 is a negative 3. And that would be my standard form. Alright, for part B, write an equation in standard form of a line passing through 9, negative 1, 11, and 13. So what we're going to do is first we need to find the slope. So we're going to go ahead and use m equals to y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1, and we're going to go ahead and find those values. So I'm going to go ahead and label this quickly here, and what we're going to do is solve the slope. So y2 is going to be 3 minus my value of y1. Y1 is a negative 1, so remember to put parentheses around these to make sure we simplify this. And x2, well, x2 is 11 minus our x1, which is a 9. And so we're going to be left with 3 plus 1, because a negative times a negative turns this positive, so we've simplified that. And then nothing changes here, so this is just 11 minus 9. So simplified, we get 4 over 2, or really it's just 2. So there's our slope. Now what we need is either use the point slope form like we did before, or we can use the slope intercept form. I'm going to use the slope intercept form. So the slope intercept is going to be using the y equals mx plus b. I'm going to choose one of these to be my point. So, and then my slope, I already have it as 2. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll use the positive numbers. I'll use 11 and 3. So for y, I'm going to plug in a 3. My slope is going to be 2 times our x. I'll use the 11. And then plus b. And I'm going to go ahead and solve for b. So 3 equals to 22 plus b, subtract 22. 22's cancel out, so therefore b is going to equal to negative, let's see here, 19. So there's our b, and now we have our m of 2, and we can go ahead and write the equation. So we have y is going to equal to 2x minus 19. The last thing we want to do is move the x over, so we're going to go ahead and move the 2x over to the other side, so we have it in standard form, ax plus by equals c. So we're going to go ahead and subtract 2x on both sides. X cancel, and I have negative 2x plus y equals negative 19. We want to get rid of the negative 2. What we're going to do is, again, we're going to multiply everything by a negative 1, distribute that out. So we're going to multiply that times this, that times the y, and then negative 1 times 19. Our new equation is going to give us 2x minus y equals 19. And that's our standard form. Alright, for the last problem, we want to use the standard form as a model. An online store sells songs for $1 each. So songs are $1 each. And then we have movies that are $12 each. And you can only spend, and you have up to $60 to spend. They want you to write and graph a linear equation that describes the items you purchased if you spend a full $60. Okay, so here's the thing. I've highlighted what's important. In yellow, okay, we're going to make songs. We're going to make that our value of x here. So this will be our x. Okay, the movies, we're going to call that our y. and then the $60, that's going to eventually be what the equation is going to equal to. So this will eventually be our value of C. So let's go ahead now put how everything works together here. So we're going to go ahead and write the equation as follows. This is going to be 1 times X plus the movies, which we're going to call our Y, is $12 each, or 12 times Y. And we can spend no more than $60. That would equal to our value of C, which is the 60. So that's our equation. Our equation would be 1x plus 12y equals 60, where A is going to equal to 1, B is going to be 12, and our C is going to be our 60. So there's our standard form right here. So what we're going to do is find the x and y intercepts. For the blue one, we're going to just make, we'll make x equals 0. So we'll make x equals 0 and solve for y. So if we solve for y, this is gone, so we're going to divide both sides by 12. And y is going to equal to 5. So our value is going to be, for y being 5, our x is 0. Now for the equation here in red, we're going to go ahead and make y 0 and solve for x. So we'll make this x plus 12 times 0 equal to 60. That's going to cancel, so x is going to equal to 60. Therefore, our point would be when x is 60, y would be 0. Now we're going to go ahead and plot these points so you can kind of see how this works and what it's saying. Alright, so as you can see, I brought down my graph, and let's see how this makes sense as to the problem itself. So you're in an online store. Our equation is the 1x plus 12y equals 60. We solve for our x and y intercepts. Okay, for x being 60, that would be right here. So let me go ahead and highlight that. So here's our 60. That means that you can purchase 60 songs because they're $1 each, and you could still end up being within $60. So at $1 each, your max amount of songs you can purchase is 60, or in this case, you cannot buy any more movies. Now, for the y-intercept, that was 0 and 5, that would be up here. And notice that at 5, the number of movies that you can purchase is 5 with no songs, because movies are 12. 12 times 5 is 60, and that keeps you within budget. Now, anything in between those 2 points, so anything you see here, any of these points in between, now those are combinations of songs and movies that you can combine. So here, if you notice here where I highlight in green, you can purchase 24 songs and 3 movies. So the graph tells you what you can purchase and still be within $60. So the $60 is keeping you within that range. So anywhere in this line, it's no more than $60 that you're spending. Okay, all right. So this is our last problem using standard form. If you have any questions, bring it up tomorrow, and that's it. So till then, bye.